Under the Scope.
Hey folks, welcome back to another Under the Scope movie review. With me is guest host Carrie. Say hello.
Hi.
Hi, Carrie's not been here for a while, but she's back. And we just got out of a screening of the young adult tearjerker, The Fault in Our Stars. Fault in Our Stars. It's a tough one for me to say. This is a new movie, comes out June 6th. It's based on the novel by John Green, who I know from YouTube. Are you familiar with John Green or any of his works?
I have no idea who that is.
Well, there you go.
This book.
Well, he wrote the book on which this movie is based. This movie stars Shailene Woodley as Hazel Grace, as she is so often called in this film by our next star, Ansel. What's his name? Ansel.
I don't know.
I forgot his last name. I was trying to remember it. Dang it.
Yeah, I don't know him.
Anyway, he plays Augustus or Gus. And these two characters are dealing with cancer.
Yeah, cherry.
So there you go. We'll set that stage for you. Hazel is stage 4 thyroid and lung cancer. She has to breathe through oxygen, or she has to have supplemental oxygen in order to breathe well. Gus is a survivor of cancer. Apparently he had something in his leg and it has had it removed below the knee, or above the knee, whatever. And these two meet at a cancer survivor group, which Hazel is reluctant to go to, but one day Ansel shows up. Or Gus. Ansel's the actor. Gus shows up, and Gus is very gregarious. Gus has big plans for his life. Gus will not be stopped. He has eyes for Hazel, in the most pleasant way, in the most charming way. And they start to hang out. And things sort of start when he asks her about himself, or asks her about herself, and she talks about how she likes this novel by this guy. I forget his Dutch name. He's an American, but
Peter
something.
Houten.
Van Houten. There you go. Yeah. He wrote a book, and then he gave up writing and became a recluse in Amsterdam. So these two sort of bond over this novel. He's never read really much books. He has her read a book based on his favorite video game. How charming. But it turns out he really, really loves this novel, and so our story sort of goes from there. There's this group called the Genies, which I suppose is the film version of the Make-A-Wish Foundation.
Yeah. They
seem to grant wishes to cancer patients, and he ends up using his wish to get them a trip to Amsterdam to meet this author. I'm sorry if I've spoiled too much, but that is as much as I'm going to spoil, because obviously they go to Amsterdam and our story progresses from there. So we should probably talk about what we think about the film. Carrie?
I loved it. Of course.
Loved it.
Yeah.
Anything in particular?
No, I love the whole thing.
It is a very...
it's really good.
I don't want to say that it's a slow-paced film, because it is a slow-paced film, but it's an intentionally slow pace.
It's not boring, though.
It's not boring. It's written... I mean, from what I know about the book, it's very... And people regard it in this fashion, that it's a young adult romance book, but it doesn't really have the trappings of typical young adult fiction. You know, there's no romanticizing, there's no nostalgia or preciousness to it. It's these kids have cancer, and they deal with it, and they have very real emotions. And I think what I like about this, what I was going to talk about, the pace, though, the pace really kind of reflects the fact that these are two people who probably, at least one of them, doesn't have a lot of time left in this world, and so they're sort of experiencing each moment and living it for as much as they can, I guess, for what they have left. So for the film to take too much speed with the pacing, I think would have been a disservice to what the characters are actually going through. Would you agree?
Yeah.
All right.
Kind of like quietly filmed.
Yeah, it is very quietly. It's a lot of intimate moments. There isn't a lot going on outside of these two characters and what they're experiencing together. There are parents involved. Laura Dern plays Hazel's mother. And they're obviously there to do their parently things. But this film is about these two characters for the most part.
They did a good job with the parents, though. They're not unrealistic and like...
No, I mean, their parents...
Positive and, we're going to beat this kind of thing. They're realistic enough.
That's realistic is what I would use to describe this movie, because there isn't there isn't really ever an element of fantasy to it. Like, yes, there's some wish fulfillment in that they get this trip to Amsterdam, but not everything goes according to plan. Not everything is perfect. It's not like this one final storybook moment to have before, you know, you kiss the world goodbye and give in to the big sea. Everything has rough edges. Everything has obstacles, and they figure out how to get through them. And it feels real. It feels authentic. It feels relatable. Not cheesy in any way.
No.
I'm talking about this in very glowing terms, but I think it's a very fantastic film, and I think a lot of that is the source material, but I'm also very impressed with Scott Boone, the director, who, I looked him up earlier today. He's directed a couple, like 2 films prior to this, nothing I've heard of. Handled very, very well. A lot of the way it was shot was very, very not overly romantic, but definitely intimate.
Yeah.
There's a lot of shots where you're looking kind of straight at a character. It doesn't cut away as someone is experiencing, you know, a very, very deep emotion, whether that's joy or sadness or whatever. And it's I like it when a film can be brave like that and it doesn't cut away and it just shows you that raw emotion and lets you feel it and experience it.
And everyone was crying.
Everyone was crying.
Everyone.
Yeah, we were definitely in a theater filled with people who were familiar with the book. They were anticipating moments. There were gasps as things were happening. These must have been crucial scenes in the books that people loved or dreaded or whatever. And for the last 20 minutes, people were sniffling and crying the whole time. So
I guess a lot of people are into that book because they had stuff on their clothing.
Yeah, from what I understand, it's a big deal, and the fact that Entertainment Weekly has devoted several articles and covers to this movie tells me that they know their market, and the kids are really, really into this book. So
I would be. I probably would now if I read it.
Yeah,
I'm sure I would.
You know, the film makes me want to check out the book, so maybe I'll do that. But we should probably give this movie a score, so let's do that right now.
The Scope score is 3.5 stars.
So 3.5 stars, folks, for The Fault in Our Stars. There's no fault in that star score. It's 3.5. Well, I guess there's a small fault.
Yes.
There's a fault. So very appropriate. If we had given it 4 stars, we would not have been true to the title. What do you think about that?
Oh, that's true.
Ha!
Yikes.
There you go. So anyway, thanks for hanging out with us. We have more Under the Scope movie reviews coming for you very, very soon. And if you like what we did here, like, comment, and subscribe, and we will catch you next time.
Ladies and gentlemen, we find ourselves once again at the end. I hope you've enjoyed our time together. I know I have. Fear not, Scope faithful. Days shall pass as if they were but a moment, and Jared, Adam, and Shane will return with another thrilling episode. Until then, send your comments to comments@thescopeshow.com or leave a voicemail message by dialing
612-21-SCOPE. That's 612-217-2673.
Thanks for listening, faithful fans. This is Tony Partington saying arrivederci. Tune in next time to another terrific edition of The Scope.